Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. I should have done like this, like the Japanese, like Shinto, they do. They call the spirits. I called you guys. Let's do it. So, what would be a best way to show hypocrisy and preferential virtue? As you can tell, during this Ukraine BS, whenever they need to do something for the whole world to see, they run towards the United Nations, vote or no vote, veto or no veto, and they say, see how many condemn the Russian invasion of Ukraine? How many? Okay, that's about what? 2/3. Okay, well, overwhelming majority. Overwhelming majority. Okay, so they condemned Russia's invasion on Ukraine. I think it was about 140 states or something out of 193. So, and something like that. I don't think it was 140. It was less than that. Something like that. It was 2/3, I think it was. Even if it was, let's say, 3/4. I have an article here which has even more an overwhelming majority voting for something that United States of America would not like. Let's get on it or in it. This article comes from Republic World. It's from November 3rd, 2022. United Nations votes overwhelmingly to condemn U.S. embargo of Cuba. So what's gonna happen? Everybody gonna impose sanctions and isolate United States of America? Don't hold your breath or your farts either. Do not do anything. Just wait. Listen to this. The vote in the 193 member General Assembly. So, this 193 member General Assembly was 185 countries supporting the condemnation, the United States and Israel opposing it. Ha! So the brothers, we're like brothers, you know Iron Maiden song? Yeah. The brothers, supposedly, the bully boy, United States, and the owner, they voted, opposed it, and Brazil and Ukraine abstaining. Brazil, they don't know which way the wind blows right now, and Ukraine has to, because Ukraine is, is on her knees, whatever. So, is this overwhelming? 193? And you got, again, 193 countries, and you got 185 supported the condemnation. So what's going to happen? This is always my question. If you do this kind of things, then what? Nothing. So therefore, when they vote about condemning other countries, regardless, it's nothing, man. It's just like a massage on a wooden leg. Let's say you have a wooden leg and you go to have a massage. You say, excuse me, can I have a massage here? The right leg. Okay, but that's wooden. I like it when you massage my wooden leg. Ooh, yeah. That's exactly what here. We voted nothing. Zero, like a massage to your wooden leg. Unbelievable. The UN General Assembly voted overwhelmingly on Thursday to condemn the American economic embargo of Cuba for the 30th year, with the Biden administration continuing former President Donald Trump's opposition and refusing to return to the Obama administration's 2016 abstention. The vote in the 193-member General Assembly was 185 countries supporting the condemnation, the United States and Israel opposing it, and Brazil and Ukraine abstaining. Do you think there should be an embargo on Cuba? I personally don't think so, but that's me. And I think that there are more people that would not want to see an embargo being still there in Cuba for so many years. I think we're past that, beyond that, punished generations after generations. You didn't punish the leadership that you thought you were going to punish. You punished the people. That's what you did. When you say, well, we punish the people, so the people are going to go and die in an uprising to overthrow the government, it did not happen. So from whenever the sanctions were the first time, which I'm thinking before 1960, right? Until now, look what happened. You invaded in a Bay of Pigs and you had a Cuban Missile Crisis and whatever. What happened? Nothing. You have generation after generation after generation of Cubans living a economically ugly life. That's all. That's all. Because if there would have been no embargo, the population would have had a better chance to have a better life. But you didn't want them to have a better life because you were afraid. You were afraid that somehow Cuba could be an example, and for some still is, with education, with natality, with health and other stuff. But what do you want? This is a really hurting a country for the people, the generations, and nothing happened. So you heard what? 3 generations, almost 2 generations, 30 years of generation. So let's say. So, Cuban Foreign Minister Bruno Rodriguez said before the vote that since 2019 the US government has escalated the siege around our country, taking it to an even crueler and more humane dimension, with the purpose of deliberately inflicting the biggest possible damage on Cuban families. Now, if this would be just United States, I would say, well, whatever. But the thing is, the United States pressures other weasels not to do business with them, so place an embargo. So if it was the United States is not the only country, that you can do business with. There are many others, 192 out of 193. If you take, United States out, then you take Cuba, so 191. 191 countries Cuba can do business with, outside of the United States, out. But no, there's many that do not do, because United States says no. Anyway, during the first 14 months of the Biden administration, the damage to the Cuban economy was estimated to US 6.3 billion, equivalent to more than to 15 million US dollars a day. So it was estimated at 6.3 billion dollars, equivalent to more than $15 million a day, Rodriguez said. Today's 185 plus 2 or negative 2 vote was similar to previous year. So they do the same thing. The General Assembly's vote in November 2019 was 187 to 3, with US, Israel and Brazil voting no, and Colombia and Ukraine abstaining. So Brazil seems to be over there. Now Bolsonaro's gone, the communist is in, he abstained. What a surprise. So the Assembly's 75th session began in September 2020, but because of the COVID-19 pandemic, the vote on the Cuban resolution was postponed until June 2021, when the vote was 184 to 2, as US and Israel voted no, and Brazil, Colombia and Ukraine abstained. So there's so many things that tried. Again, the whole world here, Israel, United States, no, and Brazil one time. So General Assembly resolutions are not legally binding and are unenforceable, but they reflect world opinion, and the vote has given Cuba an annual stage to demonstrate the isolation of the US in a decades-old effort to isolate the Caribbean island nation. The embargo was imposed in 1960. What did I say? 1960, I just guessed, because I've said, well, the Cuban Missile Crisis probably, and then when Fidel went to and saw Khrushchev in Moscow because he was kicked out of Washington, D.C. You know the story. He went to New York and he said, yeah, get the fuck out and so on. Anyway, he said, okay, I'll be communist right now. Bye-bye. So he went. The embargo was imposed in 1960 following the revolution led by Fidel Castro and the nationalization of properties belonging to U.S. citizens and corporations. 2 years later, it was strengthened. The Cuban president Raúl Castro and President Barack Obama officially restored relations in July 2016, and that year the U.S. abstained on a resolution calling for an end to the embargo for the first time, but Obama's successor Donald Trump sharply criticized Cuba's human record, and in 2017 the U.S. again voted against the resolution. Yep, very nice, from 1960. So what? That's why it is. 60 years, 63 years, 62 years. Well, that's how the world is run, my friends. And what's going to happen? Nothing. You remember United States talks about isolating Russia, isolating this, place sanctions on this, put sanctions on this, but on this one, somehow it's by itself with Israel. Why? Because Israel got the leash, and the bully boy is in the leash, and whenever needs the bully boy to go and bomb someone, gets the leash off, go, smack him over his butt, and does whatever. So anyway, here we're like brothers. Remember? Iron Maiden. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.